Hello and welcome today into this particular episode with Vinod Sharma. I am your host Barsha Das, and today I have with me a very special person to talk about a pretty interesting and insightful topic in 2024. And that topic is about effective leadership in high growth tech companies. Now, before we actually delve into this insightful topic and understand what Vinod exactly has to say, let me give you a brief intro of who Vinod is. Vinod, he is a senior technical program manager at Advent Health. He basically owns the ideation, development, and delivery steps for Advent Health's entire consumer applications. I know it's a little too much to grasp, so I think I'd just let Vinod take on the role and actually give us an explanation as to what he does at Advent Health and what his role exactly entails.
Thank you, Barsha. It's been fun connecting with you. We know each other for almost a year now. I joined Advent Health a long time ago, and I, as you said, that I take care of their consumer product from the ideation to delivery, ensuring that all bits and pieces and people are connected together and reach to the finish line. I have about 24 year of experience, and I have worked in multiple companies and worked with multiple clients.
Awesome, awesome. So, just to give everybody an overview as to what we are going to discuss in today's agenda, which is effective leadership in high growth tech companies, there are certain things we are going to deep dive and understand that what leadership styles are most effective in fast growing tech environments. How can leaders manage the challenges that come across with rapid scaling of their tech hiring? How to manage hiring to culture, how to integrate different tools in order to build a much more effective environment for employees. And definitely, we are going to talk about what are the strategies that can help mitigate the risks associated with growth companies. So, Vinod, let's deep dive into this and let's get into the first query of the call. That is, what do you believe are the most effective leadership styles for navigating the complexities of high growth tech companies?
I think transaction transformative leadership style or servant leader works really well in this case, such as if you consider Elon Musk, who will project a very big idea and then let his team come up with the solution. That kind of leadership style can work really well in a startup where a founder has an idea, passion toward a service, and then they are building a team of capable people who can actually solve those type of a problem or challenges and deliver a solution.
So when you have taken the example of Elon Musk, what are some of the characteristics do you find in a leader like Elon? Like what are the top three characteristics such leaders should have?
I think in this context, one of the thing is that he's highly innovative, and then he challenges his team with inspiration, motivation, and all different type of skills that he has, so that his team can step up and deliver a solution that they are not even thinking about. Similarly, agile leadership is there a lot, right? In that, especially in the initial stage, you have an idea, and instead of spending 2 years to build a solid, perfect solution, you want to build a prototype, build a most valuable MVP product, most viable product, and then deliver it to market and then seek all the feedback. So in that kind of situation, your initial idea can transform into something completely different that you didn't think about before, but it is something that people want. You adopt it and evolve with the market feedback, your audience feedback.
Got it. Understandable. So, since we're already talking about leadership styles and you have also mentioned about the agile methodologies, Can you share some real-time examples of such successful leadership approaches that you have particularly seen in fast-growing tech companies since you mentor a lot of people, since you have worked in your last 20 years of experience? Please share some sort of real-time experience even we can learn from.
I think um, this agile way of working has been really, really powerful. At least the people that I have worked with, who would take an idea, go to the market with um, some version of that idea, deliver it, and then seek more and more feedback that work for solopreneur, that work for a small startup, and then that can work for a bigger startup as well. I remember reading a story about Leah Basque at TaskRabbit, and she was one of those where she started. She was in corporate life, and then started a company like TaskRabbit, and her process was that she was experimenting. She was putting up an idea, fast experimenting it, and then based on the feedback, it was keep evolving. Ultimately, she sold the company to IKEA.
That's a very good real-time examples, I think, which even gets quite a lot of time gets advocated on social media as well about the same example that you've given. Awesome. So how do you tend to balance the need for such innovation and agility with the necessity of maintaining stability and consistency in such a rapidly scaling organization? Because I think leadership style is one set, but then how do you balance the same leadership competencies with the skill sets is what the real concern is.
Right, and I think what you're saying that we cannot just keep innovating, we have to focus on operation as well. And
Yes.
there are different type of team setup in that kind of situation where um, peop well, Google is big companies, but this many startup has adopted that kind of culture where they let their team member spend 25% or 20% of their time or 10% of their time on innovation project. They work on just their idea. It could be something that they borrow, they take from company Q and work on those ideas, or it could be their own idea. And Google, many companies have came up with good features and products just because they let their employee work on these kind of innovations. The second method is which even we are following at Advent Health right now in our consumer team. We created a team named Helix, and this is a team of few people who are just working on an innovation project ideas, while the rest of the team is working on the conventional features, support, and all different kind of regular iteration, right? So what that allow company to do is to take care of their clients with all the operational activities, right? From the development to support to make sure that whatever their client base is feels supported. And then there is a different team, a small team, who is working on all the innovation project without any kind of distraction or any kind of other operational needs. So they're free to, yeah. I think that kind of model can work, Brisha.
Understandable. So what role essentially does company culture play in driving and sustaining such growth? And how can leaders that we have spoken about earlier ensure such cultural alignment during the rapid expansion that all these high-tech growth companies are doing?
So there's a famous saying is the culture is built before and not after. And I think that's one of the big challenge that um, these fast growth companies or a startup face, that initially all they can think about a technical solution or the product and delivery of it, and they involve people, whoever can solve the problem, whoever can contribute in the development of the problem. And at the later stage they see that now they have a bunch of people working together, but there are no coherent underlying theme that they have. The solution to this is, if they start with their why they are building that company, why they are building that product, if they can nail down the mission and values to begin with, and then build a vision based on that. So that will allow them to create a culture, a behavior pattern, or the attitude that align with these guideline, these bigger guideline. While there is all the passions to build something, start a company, build, grow it, and all that, if they can take time to think about all these foundational things like soul of the company, right? If they can build the soul of the company before building the body, I guess one easy explanation, then with the growth they will be able to sustain the soul.
That's surely a very insightful point, Vinod. And I think this is also one of the reasons why people say that 99% of the company fail in the next
Three.
2 years of their operations. So, since we're already talking about getting that fit right for the companies, like take the time, be a little patient, and build your companies, this correlates to another topic that we would want to dive into, and that is about hiring and talent acquisition. So, I would want to learn this from you as to how do you or how have you personally approached hiring and talent acquisition in all these years of your experience in a high growth tech company? And what strategies or insights that you have found along the way that you have found to be the most effective? If you can give us, like, let's say, 2 to 3 top pointers that actually works, then probably that's going to help a lot of these young founders to even pull up their gears and invest the right amount of time and energy into hiring and talent.
That's a great point. If I will start with how I have done, and then we can add some additional points. So in my case, one of the things that I look for is the potential of that person. Come more, I mean, I focus more on the attitude and the potential of the person than what they have today. If I have two candidates in front of me, one is really, really excellent in all areas, but his the way their approach is versus or how they will interact with in a team. If I find red flag there, then I would go with a second candidate who may be more of a team player, who would respect other people, who would challenge the technical solution in a way that is not disrespectful, but is still kind of able to challenge and come up with a solution, right? So I would look for that kind of capabilities. The team aspects or their attitude is more important in this case. And then the second thing I look for is the diversity within the company. So my team always, like in last many years, always have diversity based on gender, diversity based on where they are from, diversity based on whatever background they have, even the technical background that they have. So that diversity has helped me bringing ideas from all different kind of background that we wouldn't think otherwise if the same type of person is in the room, if that makes sense. So I think in the hiring you have to think about those type of thing. Plus, if we go back to the company mission, values, and vision, if you are building a competitive company, you want competitive people. If you are building a more consumer focused company, right, where consumers are saying, what your audience, what your customers are saying is more important than your own opinion, then you build that kind of open-minded people, right? So it has to align with where you're going, what you're building, right? And so just like the previous discussion, if you can clarify those type of underlying foundation before, then it's easier as you scale. You can mentor your leadership team, your hiring managers, to adopt to the same kind of I wouldn't say guideline, but kind of they will be part of the culture, and they will find people who are a good fit in that culture. So that would be very important, so that you're building a company that really work together versus you're building the individual who kind of just there.
Got it, got it. I think a super actionable point you said, Vinod. I think definitely young founders should listen to this and try implementing it. I hope there's going to be a significant change to that. But there still remains a problem. And the problem is, even if we have invested into good hiring and talent, the company is still going to face different scaling challenges. Like it's going to face a lot of things along the way in terms of, cost monetization, or let's say saving up some operational costs, or trying to build the company and trying to, make sure that the fixed cost doesn't increase more. And every single time when I'm trying to grow into a different vertical of business, it should not expect me to invest more than what I invested before in a company. So all these different challenges, all these founders have to go through anyway. So I would want to know from you, what challenges do you see, or have you seen in all these years, where leaders typically face certain sets of problems when scaling teams rapidly, and how do we address these challenges effectively?
I think one of the things that I would say, that when you scale, let's say more than 3 people, more than 30 people, whatever the number is, right? As you scale, you have to bring standardization, some kind of standardization, especially around those repeat process, especially around what you have done for one team. If you can identify what is working, and what kind of processes or strategies and tactics are working in this team, when you scale that first. So you have your standard operating processes, your standard kind of strategies, and then you are from one team to five team, and five team to 50 team. As you scale them, there is a I would say consistency in those basic foundational thing. It is possible that all these teams are focusing on completely different areas. They have different type of challenges, and they will all come up with different type of strategies and tactics, right? But there are thing like a centralized system to store all their communication channels, or a centralized system how they are all communicating to each other. Like we use Microsoft Team, for example, and Outlook. Um, and what I'm trying to say is there are foundational systems, operational systems, that you have to adopt before you scale too much, and then each arm of your company is working in completely different manners. So as we was talking about culture, now we're talking about those underlying processes and operational tactics that can be common across the board. I will give you an example.
Got it.
And in our consumer team, we have five teams. But the way we bring all these ideas, the way we plan them quarterly, the way each team execute those ideas on a bi-weekly basis, how we deliver things, those are common, right? We're using agile, a variation of agile that connects all these dots. Now, how each team function, how each product manager is thinking, or how each engineering manager is thinking and executing, there are variation of that, right? We are not dictating or we are not prescribing a step-by-step process for each of those things, but what we are saying is we are putting an underlying framework that everybody can follow. And I think that would be crucial for a company to put that before they rapidly scale to whatever 50 teams, and then now each team looks completely different.
Got it. Got it. Thanks so much for sharing that. So, in your experience, Vinod, what are some common pitfalls leaders encounter when managing high growth tech companies, and how can they actually avoid or mitigate it? Because I feel some of the times, many of the encounters they have are not really necessary, but I think it just happens due to, let's say, lack of awareness or not actually giving good thought or not being careful. So, share us some insights to help young founders up.
For the long-term growth, I will cover maybe two or three different areas. Number one would be go back to what's their vision for 3 years or 30 years, right? How are they planning that where they will be 3 years from now, 10 years from now? And there are many approach to that. A objective and key result OKR is one of them. Then there are there are other type of approaches that they can take, but their clarity around where they're going, where they're taking the team is super, super, super important. Second, after initial growth, there is still too much into weed, and they either driven by passion or driven by trust or driven by whatever you name it. If they are continue to in the build mode and they are in the weed, doing things themselves or making all the decision themselves, then there is a high possibility that they may get stuck. So if they can find people that they can trust and put them into various leadership position, and there is a good way of delegation, there is bad way of delegation, but if you can build that kind of trust and foundation in other people who then will lead the way you would lead, so that you can free up yourself to handle the high level stuff more on the vision stuff or whatever the biggest thing that can is crucial, that is crucial for your team, for your company to build. Maybe it is talking to more stakeholders or investors, or maybe selling the idea to more other people who will buy into the company mission, right? So that kind of thing, that they should be focusing and they don't. I think this is big. They they lead. They start with a one-person company, and then they continue to be that one person leading the company even after a year, even after 2 years, when they have 10 or 100 people. Having a clarity around where they want to take the company, what out of 10 approach, what approach that they are following, and then let the team work on how. There's a writer called Ben Hardy. I'm a big fan. He wrote a book. It's called Who, Not How. And in that book, he explained this concept really, really well, that as you grow or as you try to do bigger things in your life, you have to find other people who can do the work rather than you trying to figure out each and everything. And I've seen people who would get involved with accounting, finance, development, customer support, and they try to do all that plus the growth of the company or hiring of the company. So I think this is huge. That's why I'm spending so much time on this one. That they have to be able to bring other people and trust other people and delegate different areas to them versus keep leading everything themselves.
We have spoken about pitfalls. We've spoken about how to manage scaling challenges. But here is a concern which still remains, and that is about collaboration and communication, which is, I think, one of the most prior and key things when building a company and also to establish effective leadership in high growth teams. So, how do you foster collaboration and communication amongst your team members, which are distributed across geographies, and that too working for a rapidly growing, company in a rapidly growing environment?
Yeah, and I'm laughing because I have so many situations. I will tell you one situation. It was a long time back where we didn't have all these fancy Microsoft Team or Slack, but there was two people who were working on the same project, same task. They were sitting in side by side cubicle, and the project was due in like a month. And 3 weeks later, we find out that this person, they both were not even talking to each other about exactly what part that they're building and their dependencies and different other things. And we was like shocked, like how did that happen? How did that happen that person number one was building something, person number two was building on the second part of that item, and they did not connect. We even see that in the construction project where one person is building on the right side of the road and second person is building on the left side of the road, and then at some point they realize that there was a very minor um, difference. But anyway, uh, with that fun part, I say it for me. It's all start with a common repository of document and information. And intranet is one of the big thing that I believe in. It could be I mean, for a smallest company, it could be a shared Google Drive. For a big company, it could be a SharePoint based site where there is a landing page where everybody can go and see the information about people, process, and any new thing that going on in the company like communication. So that central point is crucial. And if you are a Microsoft customer, I think Microsoft has done amazingly well connecting all the pieces together with SharePoint, Microsoft Team, and then bunch of other tool, including Word and Excel, that all relate to each other, right? So we start with the central point. I think Google has some kind of similar setup. Other companies have similar things. So you start with that central repository of resources, informations, and then you go deeper into what's your communication channel. For us, it's Microsoft Team. For some of my side work, I use Slack. But it's a it's a common understanding within that company that if there was a message, they will check it every couple of hours or every day at least, like whatever their communication agreement is. So some kind of a messaging tool that is faster than emails. And then the third one is some kind of task management or project management tool, such as Jira is really, really good. GitHub also have some kind of project management. Asana is very popular with many people. there are other proven tool where you have a consistent and common view of where everything is. And most of these tools can handle all the technical project, but also non-technical items. So you have to have that a central view of what everybody is doing. So I would say those three things, right? Number one is central repository. Number two is central communication system, and number three is some kind of project management, task management tool that everybody is using.
What does transparency do to help foster this trust and alignment within a high growth tech company, or is it just a myth?
Um, so let's start with the topic that we were just talking about, the some kind of system that is showing what everybody is working on. Um, Technical tech companies or software development or any kind of tech work is typically very confusing when it comes to the developer level and exactly what they are developing, and the connection between what business want or what business analysts and product managers are trying to develop versus what exactly team is doing. So I think that for me, transparency start from that point where leader has a view of what their team members are doing, and then it goes other way around where um, the developers and managers and the middle management knows or lower management knows what leadership is thinking. And most of the time what happen is these founders are so bogged down into building, connecting, doing a lot of things outside the company that and they are busy and they are not able to reflect back that big vision or whatever changes that they are thinking in that big vision to um, to the person who is at the execution stage or level, like developers. So when you create that kind of visibility or transparency around what's going on at the high level, what's going on the middle level, what's going on at the bottom level, then um, then you will see a environment where everybody is kind of trusting each other and they're following the same vision.
Got it. I think this main question gets tackled. So, want to understand, like, how do we balance the need for speed and innovation with the importance of also maintaining quality and customer satisfaction during the periods of rapid growth? Because if you look into startups, even in the Indian scenario and even in the global entrepreneurship environment, we'll come across a lot of companies who are hungry for growth and they want to do everything in a short span of time in order to fit their ambitions. But at the same time, most of these companies or startups, they falter into one thing. That is either they are compromising on quality or trying to just make the customers angry. So how do we balance these two things and actually, create a dreamy, like idealistic environment to grow high growth teams?
I think there are we probably have to address that at multiple level. On a technology level, thank God for all these innovation where you can write the code and before you deploy, it automatically get tested, right? With all the CI/CD, fancy CI/CD pipeline that you have, along with all these notifications that you can get, the tools that monitor your web server, the tool that monitors your cloud, and you can get the real-time notification of any microservice that is down or a server that is down or anything that is not working. So there is a lot that you could do now in terms of enhancing the quality of your code, quality of your product, and keeping it at that level with all these innovation that has happened in last 10 years, right? So at the technology level, you can get that. at at uh, the product level, like product, where you have this UX researcher, you have the customer feedback loop, where you can again you can do many kind of user testing, many kind of feedback collection, where you can see how people are using your application, what are the features that they are using the most, and what are the features that are annoying to them. You can get to that level. Again, there are various tools that you could use, analytical tool that you can use, or you can have a more formal approach like a UX designer who is doing all these type of testing for you, for your product. And once you know the biggest pain point your customers are having with your application, you can definitely work on it, and then you can also enhance the thing that are already working very very well. So having so those two are super helpful with all the innovation that has happened. And then the last thing is that we initially talk about the agile mindset. um, you marry to the problem that you're solving and not marry to the actual implementation or the idea that you had. Let that idea evolve to whatever it is. So go with minimal viable product, um, build something, deliver it, and then as you are collecting all the feedback, let it grow, let it change completely, and then keep that mindset. I have worked on a project, Varsha, that lasted like 1.5 year. I built a intranet and release it to all 50 hospital. I think we was like 45 hospital at that time, and that project took 1.5 years. So by the time we reached to the last facility, we had so many innovation in the company or Microsoft SharePoint and all. So don't do that kind of project anymore. Do a quarterly type thing, so maybe even monthly type thing, where you can quickly act on your idea, deliver it to the customer, and then seek feedback, and then just keep evolving, and not marry with whatever initially that you was thinking. The outcome is more important than the steps that you originally thought that you will be taking.
I want to quickly understand, like, give me top three ways in which, a founder can, retain top talent and also help the company prevent burnout while working in a fast-paced tech environment.
Um, I think environment, culture, and the type of work, those are, I have found, the super crucial thing, um, for anybody, whether it is at the developer level or the middle management level or even the higher senior leadership level. Think about two type of motivation that we have, like everybody has: intrinsic and extrinsic. Items such as how much salary you're getting, how much benefit that you're getting, how much praise I'm getting from other people. And then there is intrinsic motivation where things are coming, um, just my passion. And there are companies that can create that kind of mission and vision that people can actually relate to. And I've seen in Advent Health, for example, where people are here not because of the work that they're doing or not because of the salary that they're getting. They're here because what company does in terms of the patient care, in terms of their mission statement. And I've seen the similar type of stories with some other companies where they have this mission statement or their values that people can relate to. So I think those intrinsic um, factors, if you can touch upon them and it start with the hiring process. You hire the people who is actually a good fit with your mission, with your values, and where you're going. Then there's higher chance for those people to stay there. So I would say that as a leaders or as a managers, you have to tap into those elements, and then ultimately create an environment which value the person more than the project. And I always say that if you actually take care of team member, they will take care of your projects, your product, and then ultimately your customers. Southwest does that, by the way. They're one of the company that said that we are for our employees, and then our employees take care of the customers. So I think those are couple of things that I would point out. And in terms of when I will go one level down in terms of focusing on people. It's could be start with the flexible work policies, what type of work they're getting, how how frequently you're recognizing them. uh, and in the middle management, if you can just create that sense of um, praising people. Just saying somebody that when they actually did something good, saying that like you have done good work, and you develop some XYZ, and this is what I like about it. Like being that specific um, to praise somebody, or maybe it is more like I observed you talking to a customer, and how well you were listening, how well you was focused on solving their problem, right? That kind of a specificity, if you can create a culture where your manager, supervisor, and leaders are doing that often, it goes a long way. There are personality check, and then there are different type of test, and that tells what type of leader you are. And one of them is
Yes, yes. That
one.
that thing is called Myers-Briggs test, and I am actually an
Okay,
ENTJ.
I think I'm around that. And then there is a disc and I'm talking specifically for D type of people, solid D. um, they see a beginning and end, and they don't see anything in between. And I have worked with some of those them, and they would say that, why do people need praises? Like I work here, and I do my work, I get my salary, and I'm done. Why do I have to praise people? It's so funny, but they don't have any kind of need, but other people do. And they just have to understand that there are different type of people, and everybody like that.
What trends or developments do you anticipate will have actually the biggest impact on leadership in the coming few years?
I think, AI is everywhere. I personally feel that a combination of AI and robotics, so hardware and software, there is a lot of development in independent areas. Like there has been breakthroughs in robotics, and then there has been breakthrough in artificial intelligence and machine learning. I think what I see in next 5 years or 10 years, they will come closer, and we will see things. We will see robots like human doing things like human, um, because now you have this artificial intelligence that can act like a brain for them. It's a scary thing, but I think as long as founders are building all the checks and balance, and the government is putting all the checks and balance, I think that would be one of the area where there will be a lot of innovation, a lot of uh, trends. Second, I think would be healthcare. I think healthcare will completely change how we see them today, with all these big players like Amazon and Walmart's coming into the play, uh, plus how the big healthcare companies are changing themselves. I'm curious to see that how blockchain and a smart contract impact the financial industry. If you touch upon Web3, the distributed development and a smart contract, and blockchain, those are the three things which I think will commercialize and become more mainstream in next 10 years.
It just gave us a very progressive understanding of what's yet to come. And I think people, if they follow the news and they stay updated with what's really happening in the world outside, they can also get a much bigger clarity. Just to, have a concluding statement, Vinod, it was lovely really having you on this particular discussion today, sharing you know, tad bits about the industry, about leadership, and about agile methodology throughout this conversation. And I think the agenda of this conversation is definitely to bring a, insightful mind like you who recaptures their 20 years of experience into, let's say, uh, a stipulated time podcast. So I'm really, really thankful for that.
Always love talking to you.
Thank you so much, Vinod.